Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a timeless fable about three brothers. Their father sends them out into the world to make their own way, but he doesn't give them gold or land. He gives them something else entirely: their skills, and a few very simple rules to live by. So, let's get right into it. The whole story kicks off with their father's powerful command to his three sons, Nazar, Nowroz, and Nadar. He tells them, "Go and try your luck." Now, he wasn't a rich man, but he was convinced he'd given them everything they would actually need to survive and thrive out in the world.
You see, before they set off, their father equipped them with something way more valuable than money. He gave them a solid foundation of character and skill. He basically reminds them of the three amazing gifts he'd already instilled in them. They were strong, they were masters with their weapons, and they were completely fearless. But then he laid down the law with three crucial rules for life. Be honest, work hard, and, this is a big one, never ever boast. And as you're about to see, those principles get put to the test almost immediately.
Okay, so let's get to their first real challenge. As they journey, they decide to take turns standing guard each night, and each brother, all alone while the others are sound asleep, comes face to face with a deadly threat.
On the very first night, it's the eldest brother, Nazar, on watch. Everything is quiet, and then, boom! A ferocious lion, drawn in by their scent, steps out of the darkness, totally ready to attack.
Now, here's the clever part. He doesn't just start a huge fight right there and wake everyone up. Nope. He carefully lures the lion away from his brothers. He lands a few crippling blows and then finishes the beast off. But instead of roaring in victory, he quietly cuts off a small piece of hide as proof and just goes back to his post.
And this just perfectly illustrates what their father told them. He sat right back down, as it says here, as if nothing had happened. He was totally embodying that rule: don't show off or boast. Incredible.
All right, night two. It's the middle brother, Nowroz's turn. And if you thought a lion was a big deal, get this. His threat is even bigger. A giant python, the king of all serpents, comes slithering out from a dark cave nearby.
And what do you think happens? You guessed it, we see that exact same pattern of humility. Nowroz takes down this massive serpent in complete silence, slices off a piece of its skin for proof, and goes right back to his watch without saying a single word. He's honoring his father's code to the letter.
Night three falls to the youngest, Nadar, and his threat is a human one. He stumbles upon a gang of 20 robbers, but instead of just charging in, he uses his wits. He fools them into thinking he's one of them, joins their crew, and then ambushes and takes them all out at the palace wall. Then, for proof, he slips into the royal chambers and collects some very unique souvenirs.
So their journey eventually leads them to a city that's just buzzing with news about all these dead robbers. It doesn't take long for them to be summoned to the palace, and this is where their wisdom, not their strength, gets put to the ultimate test, and they don't even know it's happening.
The king and his vizier are secretly observing them as they're served this lavish meal. But the brothers start making these just bizarre comments. They claim the lamb was nursed by a dog, the grape jam smells of a human, and the bread was arranged by an expert. I mean, how could they possibly know any of this? It sounds crazy.
Now, before the king, who is completely baffled, can confront them, the brothers think they're alone. And for the very first time, they start telling each other the stories of their three secret trials, pulling out their trophies as proof, and the whole time the king is eavesdropping on every single word. And this is where it gets really interesting. The king can't believe it, so he investigates their strange claims. He calls in the shepherd, who confirms, yep, the lamb's mother died and it was raised by a dog. He interrogates the gardener, who confesses to burying a body under those very grapevines. And the bread? Turns out the king himself, whose brother was a master baker, had arranged it. Every single one of their uncanny observations was true. Their wisdom was just as sharp as their swords.
The king is, needless to say, deeply impressed. So impressed, he marries his three daughters to the three brothers. But just when you think it's a happily ever after ending, a jealous vizier and one massive misunderstanding are about to threaten everything.
One day, Nadar, the youngest, spots a venomous snake about to strike the sleeping king. He whips out his sword to kill it and save the king's life, but the king wakes up at that exact moment. All he sees is his son-in-law standing over him with a weapon drawn. His perspective is instantly clouded by suspicion, and just like that, he has Nadar thrown into jail.
To defend himself, Nadar does something absolutely brilliant. He doesn't just plead his case. He tells the king a story within a story, a powerful parable about a loyal parrot, a jealous advisor, and a king who acted on suspicion instead of proof, leading to a tragic, irreversible mistake.
And that parable? It hits the mark. Nadar then presents the dead snake as undeniable proof of his loyalty. The king is horrified. He realizes he has just repeated the exact same mistake from the story, acting on suspicion instead of fact. He completely breaks down and begs for forgiveness.
So here's the crucial point of the whole story. The king offers them everything: power, wealth, a permanent place at court. But the brothers refuse. They choose to live by the principles their father taught them, declaring, "We will live on the strength of our own hard work." And so they return home with their wives, bringing the whole narrative full circle. They prove that their father's legacy, honesty, hard work, and humility was a treasure far more valuable than any kingdom they could ever inherit.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. The story suggests that true wealth isn't found in a palace, but in living a life of integrity. It basically asks us to decide for ourselves what truly really makes a life rich.